Oh, it's about his heart. He has to be a kind person, funny, smart, and that don't matter to a lot of women in the real world. When you have to pay bills, you got rent, all of that don't matter at all to a lot of women. It's called having the means to security. This is what a lot of men don't hold themselves accountable for. You can't get mad at a woman for leaving her husband if he's not providing. He's not doing what he's supposed to do. He's not pleasing her physically, emotionally, sexually. Him being selfish. Him being a bum. This is another reason why a lot of people are divorcing. Even though I don't personally, me and my wife, we do not believe in divorce. Because the Bible even speaks against divorce. The Bible speaks about divorce. Okay? God created marriage as a one-time thing until either the husband or the wife passes away. Okay? Now, the title of the video, how the job system determines how you're treated as a man. It really matters, even in America. Doctors in hospitals are looked up to. A lot of nurses, individuals, patients, they all respect the doctor. They listen to the doctor. Okay? Especially if the doctor knows what he's doing and he's actually genuine. And you know why a lot of women are looking at the doctor as a potential mate? Because he has himself together. He's making a lot of money. So that's one of the main things that people are going to look at. Especially if the doctor is good looking. Looks, money, status, LMS. It truly matters in society. Looks could get you in the door. That's only the beginning. Money is another factor. And your status is another factor, but that's also superficial to depending on the type of woman. Because some women could like rappers, ballers, players, and hustlers, right? But his status is what also matters too on the type of lifestyle you are going to live. If it's going to be short term or long term. Okay? The status of a doctor is completely different from the status of a drug dealer. Drug dealer relationships, they last short term, while long term security is with a doctor. Short term security is with a gangster or a hustler or a drug dealer because they live in a bad lifestyle. The good, secure lifestyle, content lifestyle is with a doctor. But you have to think, the reason why a lot of people respects these type of high-end professions, especially doctors, lawyers, supervisors, is because they carry themselves a certain way. They carry themselves like they made it. They're acting their pay. They're acting accordingly. They're disciplined. They took every time, hour, sweat spent to get to where they're at today. That's why I don't hate on people who's a supervisor, who's a CEO, who's on the top. My dad's is a maintenance supervisor. I'm not gonna hate on people like that. I'm not gonna hate the hustle. I'm not. Because they deserve that. They worked for that. And the job system is against men. And in the way where I'm saying that is that as a man, you have to hunt and put in the work. For instance, with my current job, when I look around me, the supervisor of my shift, right? he is highly respected. And there are a few occasions where a lot of women, I've seen a couple of them, is all around him, laughing, touching him. Subconsciously, they're keeping themselves in check. But when they see a regular guy who's in the same position as them, like entry level, right? Same position, same job that they're doing, they treat him like another coworker. And if he's good looking, and if they like the guy, very rare cases they may date him, go out with him. And a lot of times that could be messy if it don't work out, okay? But this is just a prime example. My current job, I see this. The CEOs, the supervisors, the team leads, the higher your job rank is, the more money you make, the more you're going to be respected and looked up to. If people are cool with you, they're going to be cool with you. But how women sees it is completely different from how men sees other men job status, especially if you're in the same position. They're going to have respect for you, but at the exact same time, it's a different type of respect. Yeah, what's up, man? How you doing? That's how you will talk to your regular coworkers. But a supervisor, especially one that's very serious, yes, sir. How you doing? Good afternoon. You don't want to get caught by them because they're the ones that's in charge. They're the top dog. And the one that's on top of the supervisor is the HR department, the hiring manager. And then there's the head of the company. Then there's the CEO of the company, the CEO assistant, the owner. The higher the rank, the more money they make. Even if the supervisor as a man doesn't have the looks, he has the money and he has the status of a supervisor, women are still going to have high respects for him. Every job that I worked for, I always seen it. The man could be 400 or 500 pounds. He's still going to be highly respected because he's going to act his pay. People could joke around here and there if you're supervisor, but when it's time for money and to make money and it's all about business, they're going to act accordingly, especially if they see you doing something wrong. And guess what? You're going to treat them with respect. And for people who are disrespects their supervisors, hey, you're the one that got yourself fired, and you're arrogant and you're ignorant. But in the end of the day, when it comes down to dating, there's many cases where I hear female coworkers trying to date their superiors or their supervisors or the team lead. It's like hypergamy. Subconsciously, they don't mean to do it, but in a sense, it makes a lot of sense. But if they don't like them and they find someone else that they're attracted to and money doesn't really matter, or the status of a man, hey, kudos to them. And that's rare. It's rare. In the end of the day, the times we're in, there's a lot of women out there that are going to look for a guy at least to have some sense of security. Some security, at least. Your own place, your own car. Are you established financially? Do you have a savings? It depends on the woman's motive. It depends on how she carries herself will determine how she's going to treat you, or especially what she's looking for in a man. You can see how the way they dress, how the way they talk. You could see it. You could spot these type of women in the workplace. Plenty of people date each other in the workplace. It happens all the time. But how the job system is will determine how you're treated as a man, even outside of work, even your coworkers outside of work, like your customers. Customer service. Even the picture here of this man working at McDonald's. You think he is very highly respected in some cases by customers? Why do you think so many customers, the first thing that they do is, let me get your manager so I can report you so you can lose your job. They feel like this is the only job that you qualify for. Cheap dirt money. I understand we all start somewhere, but you have to understand your role, where you're at, what you can deal with, your limits. Women is going to always get treated differently from men when it comes down to work, especially depending on their position. If the female is also your boss, many cases you don't really hear her date her coworkers or associates, because the companies has different policies. In some cases it happens. In other cases she may be already married to her superior or the CEO. I'm not going to hate on the man. I'm not going to judge her and say, oh, she's hypergamous. In all reality, you could get the woman that you want, especially the way you carry yourself. You don't have to have all the money in the world. Yes, looks play a factor, but how you carry your money also matters too. You don't have to be rich. This is advice coming from a married man. I've been married to my wife for 5 years. She even told me, and she's a rare gem. I'm not trying to talk crap. I'm humble. But this is what she said. This is a word of advice. It does not matter how much money a man makes. As long as he treats me right, he does right with his money, he provides a home, security, he has himself together and established, the status of what he does not matter. As long as he does, especially if he does not put me in danger or he's not doing anything dangerous either that affects her life, his life, or everyone else's life, or the children's lives. Blue collar workers, they're highly respected by a lot of women, and there's some women that cares about a clean man that they're not going to be attracted to blue collar workers, so they're going to look for white collar workers around her in the workplace, in the office. It just depends on the job. It just depends on what you do, how you found your mate. The job system determines how you're treated as a man all the time. Depending on the type of female, depending on the woman, what she's looking for and what you're looking for also matters too. You're looking for a whore? You can't get mad when she treats you like crap. You're looking for a gold digger? You can't get mad when she plays you and uses you. You can't get mad at nobody but yourself. One of my coworkers even gave me one of the best advice. In many cases, people who gets fired and gets in trouble with the supervisor, they like to complain and whine. It's not the supervisor's fault. It's their fault. You also got to hold yourself accountable. People don't just get into trouble. The supervisors don't pick on people for no reason. It all depends on the job and what you're doing. You have job duties. Read the description. If you're not doing the job, you're going to have a reason to get barked on. So many people out here, even effeminate men, like to whine and complain. I have plenty of them at my job. Oh, I'm not doing that job. It's too heavy. Oh, I'm not doing this. How come the women are doing easy jobs? How come this? How come that? You're a man and you're whining and you're complaining. I barely whine and complain at my job. That's why some men look down on men that whines and complains, because that's female tendencies. Women do that. Women are emotional. Men shouldn't carry themselves that way. Especially if you're at work and you're around other men. You're going to look down on. That's how bullies happen. That's why all these type of crap and bull crap happens. I'm just going to keep it real. Other than that, the job system is going to always be there in the real world. And how the type of job that you got is how you're going to be treated. You're going to have cases where people are going to treat you like crap and people are going to treat you very good, depending on your job status. It's also on how you carry yourself too. But this also plays a factor. What you do with your job and how you also carry yourself determines on how you're going to also be treated as a man. Everybody starts somewhere, but how women sees it, you got to also understand where they're coming from too. A lot of women is not going to want to gamble with a guy that's making $7.50 an hour. It's also your fault on why you're settling with a cheap labor job. You can't complain and say, oh, I want a wife, I want this and that, but then you don't even have yourself together financially. You got to think about this and be real with yourself. This is Woken Up here. Peace out. Let me know what you think.